Hey everybody, welcome, 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 welcome. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Welcome to our weekly Missing Person Monday live stream. We do this every Monday. Every once in a while, we may push it to a Tuesday, but for the most part, it is on Mondays. So welcome. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. And if you want to join in chat, let us know how you found us. Please do that. Welcome to everybody who is in chat. I will get to you guys. Welcome to everybody who is lurking. And if you're a replay crew, thank you to replay crew. We love our replay crew. You guys are awesome. So if you are a replay crew, please do leave me a comment down below to let me know that you are replay. And as you can see tonight, we're going to be featuring some missing persons cases from Portland, Maine. I think I have 5 of them tonight. Most of them are cold cases. We feature mostly cold cases on my channel. Now, during the week, I do upload also pre-recorded videos with some newer missing, and also some cold cases, missing persons, some unsolved homicide cold cases, some unidentified Jane Does, John Does. So please do. I try to keep everything all organized in a playlist for you guys, so you can just check out the playlist for anything that you haven't seen. But I want to shout out my members. Thank you to my members. I think we're up to 32 members right now. So I appreciate you guys so very much for your continued support. But if you can't afford to do a membership or do donations, you can always like, share, comment. Those help just as much or more than donations. You can also hype the videos. I still don't fully understand the hyping thing, but somewhere down below videos, and I think after live streams when they're done, there's a little button down there that says hype this video, and I think you get so many hype points or something, whatever. Anyway, and I think, and a lot of people have been hyping my pre-recorded video, so I thank you for doing that. It does help them. Apparently, the more hypes they get, it gets pushed out into the algorithm pushes out to more people, which is obviously the whole purpose is for as many people as possible to see these videos, to see these live streams, to be made aware of these cases, because they are so very important. So before I babble on some more, we will see who is here, and I'm gonna have to try to read my comments off my phone once again, because my farm signal is sketched tonight. Actually, I have like 4 bars, which is more. I never have that many bars, but for some reason couldn't get StreamYard up on the laptop, so I'm going to be reading from the phone screen, so bear with me. Junior is here. He was first in. Welcome, Junior. Always good to see you. Mustang is here. Good to see you. Chris is here. It's good to see everybody here tonight. All the usual suspects. Miss Farr is here. She said, hey, all, I will be listening. Excellent. What is it she says? She's probably piss farting around. Oh, that kills me. Patriotism is here. Welcome. Good to see you. Patriotism says I will be a ninja tonight. Hey, just as long as you're here. Patriotism needs to finish washing clothes. Excellent, excellent. Let me see. Thank you. Mustang is getting the links in. Stormy is here. Hello, my dear. Good to see you. Let me see. Let me see. Miss Polly is here. Hello, my dear. I hope you're doing well tonight. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It's Monday. We all know how Mondays are. We know how Mondays go. I had a long work day today. Chris says, Stormy, I'm not familiar with the case that you're covering in your live stream. I'm gonna have to be replay crew on that. I have to be replay crew on so many, because last night I don't know what yesterday. I did work yesterday, but all day I was just in a blah mood, just feeling blah, really tired. And I got home from work and ate supper, and I was probably asleep by like 7 o'clock last night. I mean, that is obviously very early for me. I'm usually a night owl. I stay up late and wake up late, but I don't know what it was yesterday. I don't know if I had a little touch of a bug or something, but then I ended up getting up at like 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning. But anyway, I missed Josh's live stream. I missed Trial Junkies United live stream. So I'm going to have to be replay crew and all that. And apparently today, or whenever Stormy's live stream was, I missed it. So if I can stay awake tonight after this live stream, I'll try to get caught up on everybody's live streams that I missed. Oh goodness. So Stormy's talking about the case. I don't know what case it is. She says it's a tough case. It happened back in 2022, and they've both been tried and sentenced, but Shonda asked for a new trial, so I'm going over everything. Is it the Shonda Vanderark trial? I don't know if I'm saying that right. Thank you. Absolutely. Mustang says do all the things. Junior is back. I think I said hi to Junior. I think he was first to comment. Get caught up. Chris says, I'm excited to see your face. Yeah, I debated tonight on whether or not to use my camera. I said I might as well. I just feel awkward leaning into the camera when I have to read the comments off the phone. But yeah, I'm gonna try to start using my camera more again. Hey DJ, welcome. It's DJ's allegedly, in my opinion, true crime 1998. So I just shortened it to DJ to make it easier for me. But welcome. It's good to have you back. Let me see. Oh, That's fine, Junior. Junior says he still hasn't got his credit card fixed, so he can't super chat. That's fine. Like I said, I know times are tough for all of us, and including myself, I can't afford to donate a whole lot. But I mean, if you can donate, there are donation links in the about section of the channel. I think I do. I have a buy me. I do the buy me a coffee and Cash App, and I think I can't remember if I have PayPal on there or not. And then there's also memberships. But like I said, I understand times are hard. And like I said, liking, sharing, commenting, hyping the videos are just as important. Help out just as much. So I appreciate anything anybody can do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Chris said it. Says, Junior, you are here, and that is what is important. Absolutely. Yeah, just being here, watching the live streams, watching replays. That is fantastic. Hey, Simi, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I always see Simi in Child Junkies United chats in their live streams. Junior said, in Michigan, it was beautiful weather this weekend. I worked in my yard. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Stormy said she had a live yesterday. Okay, so I was working yesterday, and like I said, I came home, ate supper, and passed out. But I will be replay crew, most definitely. Okay, yeah, Shonda Vander Ark. Excellent. I will be sure to watch that. I'm assuming Simi is talking about Shonda, evil parent. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't deep dived into that case. I just kind of know the basics, but yeah, it's horrible, horrible case. When was that? Was that yesterday? Junior says that Mr. Steve was on the Drunk Turkey show. It was good to see him. Oh, I'm going to have to definitely watch that. I miss. Chris said he missed my face. I miss Mr. Steve's face. I just miss his presence. But I know, he's busy doing his thing, boots on the ground. This is the time of year that Mr. Steve is usually out on the road, helping these families free of charge through his nonprofit that he has. And you can check out truecrimeweb.com. So Mr. Steve is out this time of year doing boots on the ground, doing the good work. Simi says, I prefer seeing the creator. Yeah, and I usually use my camera just, I don't know, about the last month, maybe month or so. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. But I'm going to probably start using it from now on. But yeah, I like to see the creators too. But now, I understand some creators. I mean, I do watch creators that I've been watching for a long time that don't use camera, But I know what you're saying. Simi says, don't forget those hearts. Yep. Is this our JP's respawn lobby? Says, hi, Southern Gal. Good to see you. Because I checked out the because he had commented, and it may not be. It may be another JP, but we know we have our JP, but it's like a gaming channel. So I don't know if it's not our JP Hansen. I apologize, but regardless of who it is, welcome. Good to have you. I'm just going to assume it is our JP, but we all know what happens with when we assume. Oh goodness. Thank you, Mustang. Yeah, Mustang found my donation links. So where are the flying hearts at? So Simi says, hey friends, did you know that hitting those flying hearts really helps Southern Gal get into the algorithm, if you don't mind? Where are the flying hearts? It must be on the YouTube side, because I don't I don't see it on the StreamYard side. But yeah, anything will help. Oh, actually, I think I do know what you're talking about. I think I have seen some flying hearts in some chats. Let me see. Yep. Stormy says she always uses her camera. Yep. JP says I'm calling out clout clowns. Yeah, Stormy says talking about using the camera. Says it took me a while to get comfortable. It's not for everyone. Yeah, I see that. I'm more. It's not for me. It's not like vanity because I wasn't born with a face for a camera, but it's just I feel more self conscious sometimes when I know the camera's on. But then I just try to ignore the camera and just concentrate on the subject matter at hand and do my thing. Yep, Miss Paula says it is nice seeing everyone. Okay, so it's on YouTube chat. Excellent. Mustang says some people should not use their cameras. Yeah. Hey, look, like I said, I don't have any room to talk. I don't, I was not born with a face for camera. So Simi says the little hearts is just near the chat bar. Clout clowns on clout crack. Oh goodness. Let me see. Yep, Miss Paula has been here since the beginning. Absolutely. I didn't know you've been on live. Ginger says, I've been on a few live streams and felt uncomfortable the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, Mustang says has nothing to do with looks. Yeah, I'm not here for my looks, obviously. I'm here to get out this information. All right, so I think I'm caught up. Oh, I agree. JP was talking about the clout clowns. Oh yeah, yeah. They make me angry too. All right, so I'll mark right there. And I'll have to control. There we go. All right, so we will get started. So like I said, we are featuring missing persons from Portland, Maine, not Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine. But we've been trying to go in, or I've been trying to go in alphabetical order through the states. And so anyway, first we have Ryan, and I'm going to try not to butcher his name, Ryan Blagojevic. I apologize if I totally got that wrong. But he has been missing since March 31st, 2013 from Portland. He is a white male. He was 37 years old when he went missing. He was 6 feet tall, 170 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. It does say that he is an alcoholic. He had abused alcohol since his teens, and he was unable to stay sober in spite of going through treatment. But it says he did maintain a stable life up until a few years prior to his disappearance. After he sustained a severe traumatic brain injury in a car accident in 2010, he began using alcohol much more severely. And so due to the brain damage from the accident, he is classified as disabled. Ryan, make sure I got I'm telling you, it's a Monday. My mind is not working. It's working even worse than usual. So Ryan was living homeless in Portland at the time of his disappearance. He was staying in shelters or on the streets. On March 31st, 2013, which was the Easter holiday, apparently he was intoxicated at the shelter where he was staying. So the shelter ended up calling the police because he was causing problems. The police didn't arrest him, but he was asked to leave the shelter. And then after that, he has not been seen or heard from since. He was receiving social SSI disability payments at the time of his disappearance. His parents apparently were the payees. So I guess they sent the checks to the parents, and then it said that Ryan would contact them regularly by phone, and then they would wire money to wherever he was at. But then they never heard from him after Easter of 2013, and then his sister reported him missing in early May of that year. So about so a couple of months after he was last seen, that was when they reported him missing. So Ryan is from Harwich, Massachusetts, the Harwich, Massachusetts area. His family still lives there. He did leave behind a young daughter whose mother had been his long-term girlfriend, but they had broken up while she was pregnant with their daughter. Due to his head injury, Ryan's family does not think that he could have started a new life on his own, but they also don't believe that he would have taken his own life. His sister stated that the police didn't seem to take his disappearance seriously. And how many times do we hear that? And apparently they never conducted any searches of the area for him, and his case remains unsolved. So probably due to him being homeless and having alcohol issues, and just, and I'm not saying that we know that all police, law enforcement operates this way, but a lot of times if you have homeless that do have either alcohol or substance issues, they just don't maybe not investigate it as vigorously as they would other cases. But if you do have any information regarding Ryan's disappearance, you can call the Portland PD at 207-874-8479. And I did find a couple of articles. I found a really good website. It's called darkdowneast.com. That gives a little bit more there. It gives a little bit. I think it's actually maybe a podcast, but it does give a lot of information. So I'll read that to you right quickly. I don't know when it was posted, but anyway, it says homelessness, substance use disorder, and mental health challenges create significant barriers in missing persons cases, often causing individuals to fall through the cracks and their families fighting to get their names and stories heard. It's just what we're talking about. Ryan Blagojevic disappeared without a trace in 2013, and his sister Eve continues the search to find him. The circumstances of his life at the time he went missing has made it even more difficult to get answers, but Eve will not let her brother be forgotten. It was just after 7 o'clock on Sunday night, March 31st, 2013, when a call came into Portland, Maine police dispatch. It was a staff member at Molton Recovery, and they were calling to report that a man was being rude to guests and staff, and he was refusing to leave. Molton Recovery provides care and services to individuals experiencing substance use disorders, mental illness, and homelessness. The man reportedly refusing to leave and disturbing people on site was 37-year-old Ryan Blagojevic, who was a guest at Molton Recovery himself. Portland officer Brett Abbott responded to 65 India Street on the Portland Peninsula by 7:06 p.m. The call detail report from that night is just a few lines. It states that the shelter staff wanted Ryan to leave for the night, but he could return the next day. So Ryan was removed from the shelter and asked to move along for the evening. And it says Officer Abbott finished the call by 7:18 p.m. So from the time the call came in at 7, basically barely 20 minutes until it was, over and done with. So where Ryan went next, who he saw or what he did, there's no record of. He did not return to the shelter the next day. And since that Sunday evening in 2013, No one has seen or heard from him. So Ryan's sister Eve is 14 years younger than Ryan. They come from a family of 5 kids. It says they are all pretty far apart in age, but the whole family was and is still very close-knit. Eve said, quote, my parents ran an upholstery business out of our family home, so they were always there. We didn't have dad working late or mom working overnights. We were very lucky in that sense. They were there to see us off on the bus in the morning and when we got home from school, end quote. So they lived on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, which is just a stone's throw away from beautiful beaches and just the quintessential New England destinations. I've actually been to Cape Cod, and we went on one of our trips with Little Rock Tours. Very, very beautiful place. It was idyllic. It was fit for a postcard, but looking back on it now, Eve can see cracks in the perfect veneer. Eve said, quote, there was definitely always like a kind of darkness lingering over my family that I couldn't understand as a child, but I always knew that something was not right. Today, as I sit here, I realize that my parents were human, just like all of us, but they did suffer from mental health issues, and my father was also an alcoholic. So apparently, from what she's saying, alcoholism did run in the family. She goes on to say, I never saw him drink, but he did drink during some of the other kids' childhoods, and the issues were pretty severe, end quote. So I grew up with an alcoholic parent. My dad was an alcoholic, so I can relate to what she is saying. It's very, very tough, very tough. She continued, quote, I hate saying that because I want to honor them. They were good parents. They loved us. We were always fed. We always had a roof over our head. We were taken care of, but there was mental health issues that were untreated and were eventually passed down to us. So I wonder what kind of mental health issues. I mean, it doesn't say, I don't think. I don't know if it was the alcoholism, because you could say that alcoholism could be considered a mental health issue. Because you might start because of some whatever problems of that you may have going on, but then you do become physically addicted to it. But it can start out as maybe trying to self-medicate for some mental health issues. So her mother and father have passed away now, but Eve said that their home on Cape Cod, where she was sitting for the interview, the home that's been in the family since the 70s, gets to stay in the family. Preserving the memories that the households is important to her. Their family home is a place that has always been a soft landing and a safe space for all of the kids, no matter what they face throughout their lives. The darkness lingering over her family, as they've referred to it, impacted Ryan from a young age. His experience with substance use disorder started in his early teenage years. I believe it was Eve still talking, says, quote, I have to be honest, I don't remember a time when Ryan wasn't drinking. I think he first went into rehab when he was 13, maybe 14, so that is very, very young. She says, I remember maybe I was 4 years old and spending a birthday. We went to see him in the detox or rehab where he was. And I remember my mom being so upset because they would not let her light the birthday candles on the cake that they let us bring. So he really started struggling young. Yeah, 13, 14, really, really, really young. Now, I've heard cases, unfortunately, where, kids started drinking earlier but to already be in rehab for it at 13 and 14. Yeah. So Ryan had the support of his family as he worked through his recovery, but Eve believes that there was always something more beneath the surface. She believes it's possible that he may have experienced abuse or other trauma in his life that was never discussed or addressed. So that's interesting. Eve said, quote, I don't think his trauma was ever dealt with. I think just the addiction side of it was dealt with, so he just kept relapsing, end quote. In the late 2000s, Ryan was living in northern and down east Maine, carving a life out in the small towns outside of Bangor. He started dating someone, and in early 2010, Ryan learned that he was going to be a father, and his daughter was born that summer. The profile photo on Ryan's Facebook page shows him smiling down at his newborn daughter, feeding her with a tiny bottle, so obviously proud of the life that he held in his hands. Eve said that Ryan loved his child, and it was also undeniable that Ryan was sick. His behavior reflected that. The mother of his child was granted a protection order against him, and Ryan violated it more than once, which did result in jail time. The following spring, Ryan nearly lost his life. According to reporting in the Bangor Daily News, on May 15th, 2011, the Hancock County Sheriff's Department responded to the scene of a car accident on Newberry Neck Road in Surrey. First responders found a driverless Jeep Grand Cherokee that had apparently gone off the road and hit a large rock and then a tree head on. After running the SUV's info, police realized that it had been reported stolen. Ryan was found a short time later lying unconscious in someone's backyard. So he was very lucky. If it hit a large rock and then went head on into a tree. So he had injuries consistent with a car accident. He was transported to the hospital with serious head injuries, and at the time he was not expected to survive. Eve explained, quote, "My mom had his last rites read to him. We thought that he was going to pass on, and he ended up making it, and we really believed that he was going to have a second chance at life. And then his parental rights were terminated to his daughter because of the things that he did. It was because of his behavior." She goes on to say, "You can't just terminate rights for no reason, but after his rights were terminated, and when he got into that accident, he had bad brain damage, and after the rights were terminated, I don't think he had a drive to get better. All he knew to do was to keep drinking," end quote. So it's just tragedy upon tragedy. So following the accident, Ryan moved back into the family home in Massachusetts, again to the safety and support of his family. However, in the fall of 2012, Ryan's drinking reached a level that his parents could no longer tolerate in their home, and so they asked him to leave. That September, Ryan received a settlement payout from injuries that he sustained while incarcerated in a Massachusetts jail. So with $6,000 or so in his pocket, he moved back to Maine in October of 2012. Although a protection order remained in place, Eve believes Ryan chose Maine because he wanted to be close to his daughter and the mother of his child in hopes of reconnecting and mending that relationship. So Ryan first rented a room in Bangor, and then when he was asked to leave, he moved south to Portland and rented another room. Unfortunately, that arrangement did not last either. His substance use got in the way of his ability to maintain stable housing, and having run out of money from a settlement check, he became homeless. There are some shelters and services available to those experiencing homelessness and substance use disorders in the greater Portland area, including Milestone Recovery Shelter. It is what they call a wet shelter, meaning that people can stay at the shelter even if they are under the influence of alcohol or other substances. So that's the first time I've ever heard of a wet shelter. So I was always under the impression that if you're staying at a shelter, that it means you can't be drinking any alcohol, be on any substances. Although Ryan was mostly estranged from his family during this time, his parents routinely heard from him around the first of the month when his Social Security disability benefits arrived. His parents were his payees, and Ryan would call them at the beginning of the month every month, and they would wire him the money or otherwise get him his funds. On March 31st, 2013, as expected, Ryan called his parents to check in about his money. It was the very same night that Portland PD responded to Milestone and removed Ryan from the premises, but his family would not know anything about that incident for weeks. I wonder why. And I don't know if when you go into these shelters, if you maybe have to list an emergency contact just in case anything happens while you're at the shelter. I would think that there would be, but like I said, I don't know if anybody out there in chat or watching replay knows. Please let me know. But apparently they didn't know about this incident for weeks. So Eve said, quote, my parents talked to him the night that he went missing. He had called them asking for an advance on his Social Security, because it was the 31st of March, and I believe he got his Social Security on the 2nd. So he called asking for an advance, but my parents told him no because he was drinking. And I believe they had not an argument, but they had a talk. And my dad told him that he will always carry him in his heart, but he could no longer carry him on his back, end quote. And she says, and that was the last time anyone heard from him, end quote. So it's just sad situation. I mean, I think I had one more short article, just the police. This is from May of 2025, actually. Portland police search for Ryan Blagojevic, missing for 12 years. Sorry, my nose is itching. My allergies are still out of control. So Portland police are asking for the public's help in finding a man who's been missing for 12 years. Ryan Blagojevic, 37, is reportedly unhoused. And Sunday was the anniversary of him going missing. Police say that he was in Portland for around 6 months and was known to travel around both Maine and Massachusetts. Police ask anyone with information to call 207-874-8575, or you can text PPDME to 847-411, which is tip 411. So yeah, like I said, I don't know, because it said the parents didn't know about him getting asked to leave the shelter for weeks. I mean, but I would think that if you're going to shelter, they might ask, and a lot of people may not have an emergency contact, but they might possibly ask, if you do have an emergency contact, list it just in case something happens to you while you're at the shelter. But all right, let me get caught up on your comments right quick. Let me get a drink. Like I said, I apologize for my scratchy voice, but the pollen has been so bad here in Arkansas. Between the pollen and they're plowing the fields, getting ready to plant. So just all the dust in the air makes it even worse. Trying to get down to where I was at here. 1 second. I know I marked it with my little blue star. Oh, there we go. Okay, I found it. Let me see. Let's see. Y'all still talking about clout clowns. Let me see. Oh goodness. JP said Portland smells like feet. I don't know. I've never been there. I can't comment on that. Yeah, Junior says, I've been a member of AA since the 90s. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of people who could not get sober and lost their lives. Yep, absolutely. Like I said, I grew up with an alcoholic parent. So, I mean, it's just, once it gets a hold of you, it just sometimes you just can't shake it. Just can't shake it. Paula wants to know, consider suspicious. I don't know. I mean, he was homeless, with the alcohol problem. They didn't mention anything about, thinking that it was foul play. I mean, that doesn't mean that it couldn't be. To me, it could. I'm confounded with this one. I mean, I would think maybe more of a case of either accident. If he was not staying in a shelter, if he was sleeping outside. I mean, it was March, which March in Maine, I'm going to assume is probably still pretty chilly. He could have succumbed to the elements. Like I said, he could have had some kind of accident. He could have left the area. Best case scenario obviously is that he just left the area and he's alive and well somewhere and just not contacting his family for whatever reason. But I don't know. Just in my opinion, I don't really get a foul play vibe from it. But like I said, we don't know. It told that we still have to consider it. Obviously. Mustangs, a red flag. Miss Paula says red flaggy. Yeah, Stormy says a hard situation. Stormy is 10 years sober. Congratulations. My grandmother was an alcoholic too. Yeah. Junior says Cape Cod is a really nice place. I've been there a few times. Yeah, we went there. It's oh god, only 2-3 years ago now. We went on one of our trips to the East Coast to the New England with Little Rochers. We went to Cape Cod and Martha's Vineyard and all around there. And yeah, it's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Yep, Stormy says mental health issues like BPD lead you to self-medicate. Absolutely. Yeah, and it could have been, like I said, it didn't mention what kind of mental health issues he had, but yeah, you could definitely use, a lot of people do use alcohol and substances to self-medicate, unfortunately. But I mean, it's just, Mustang says sounds suspicious. Stormy says, I hope Ryan is okay. It sounds like he wanted to completely detach from reality. Yeah. Yep. Welcome, Prince Jesterful. Good to have you here. Welcome. That's a new name for me. I'm glad you're here though. Yep, Chris says mental health is important to me. Absolutely. This is true. Mustang said if he had a brain injury, he could have wandered off. Absolutely. Yeah. And it could be that, I mean, I don't know. Let me go back to his Charley Project information. Nope, wrong one. Hold on. So he got the brain injury in 2010. He disappeared in 2013. I wonder if there would have been any kind of, this is probably way off base, any kind of like delayed amnesia kind of thing from the traumatic brain injury. Like I said, I might be way off base. I don't know. But I know traumatic brain injury can obviously do a lot of harm and make people do things that they wouldn't normally do. You hear it a lot with football players who have TBIs, even going so far as to take other people's lives, sometimes loved ones' lives, because of the CTE and traumatic brain injury, because they have done, I forgot who it was. I think they've done actually several of the football players who have passed away due to or not CTE and traumatic brain injury. They have, if they were known to have had CTE, traumatic brain injury, they have studied the brain. And I'm not trying to be graphic or gross, but they studied the brain to try to kind of, figure things out. Let's see. So who is down under? So Chris said, how is the weather down under there, sir? Is it Prince Chesterful? Junior says, it tells us in the book of AA that our drinking was a symptom of much deeper psychological problems. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, okay. So from Australia. So Chris said Prince Chesterful is from where Far is, which is Australia. And he's a great friend of mine. Excellent. Well, any friend of Chris's is a friend of mine. I'm just going to call you Prince. Says, thanks for the warm welcome, everyone. New sub, but can't stay today. Catch you all in a future live. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for staying as long as you can. We absolutely appreciate it. Let me see. So that's what I thought. Junior says, every shelter I've heard of, you cannot be drinking or under the influence. See, that's what I thought. See, I'd never heard of what they call it, a wet shelter. I'd never heard of that. I mean, I pretty much thought that was the number one requirement to be let into the shelter. You can't be drinking. You can't be on any substances. That's just standard, I thought. So that kind of took me off guard, took me by surprise when I read that. Oh gosh, that would be my worst nightmare. And I don't say that to be Junior say, can you imagine a shelter full of drunk people? Oh yeah. See, to me that would go to the safety issues for the person, but more so for the other people in the shelter, because once again, alcohol and substances can make you do some not so good things sometimes. Yeah, Mustang says it's usually a stipulation. Hey, Miss Z, good to see you. How you doing, ma'am? Please check out Child Junkies United. And once again, I apologize for missing the live stream last night. I fell asleep at like 7 o'clock last night. I don't know what was wrong with me yesterday and last night, but I was passed out by about 7 o'clock. But I will be replay crew. Also, will be replay crew for Josh. So please do check out also Where Lavender Grows. That is Josh's channel. And please do check out Child Junkies United with Z. And see, that's why I don't like to read comments when I got my camera on. I got my hands in the camera and everything. Check out Child Junkies United with Z and Doc and Moo the Cat. Do excellent. They cover the hard stuff, the really, really hard stuff. But the important stuff that needs definitely to be talked about and brought to light. get caught up, and then we will. Ginger said he tried swimming in the ocean off the coast of Cape Cod, and it was freezing. I know it was cold when we were up there, and I can't remember what time of year we went up there. Well, I mean, it wasn't like freezing cold, but it was. But anyway, I'm a Southern girl. I'm from Arkansas, so anything below like 60 degrees, 60 or below, is cold to me. Hey, Miss PJ, good to see you, ma'am. Please do check out Miss PJ. It's always good to have her here. Getting caught up, I promise. We will get to the next one. Yeah, Z says, understandable. When you get tired, you need to say, yeah, I know. I was just blah all day yesterday. My mood was blah. I felt blah. My body just felt blah. I made up for it, though. I slept for about 12 hours. Hey, Doodles and Gray, good to see you. Welcome in. All right, I think I am caught up. Nope, I don't want to. What am I doing? Things are in my way. Won't uncover my little blue star. There we go. Okay. So next, turn my camera back on. I went back too far. I'm gonna try not to mispronounce this name. Once again, things are loading slow as usual with my farm signal, and hold on, I'm sweating. It's hot in here tonight. All right. Oh, geez. Really poked myself in the eyeball trying to put my glasses back on. All right, so this is, once again, I apologize if I mispronounce, Siphat Chau. He's been missing since December 24th, 2005 from Portland. He's an Asian male. He was just 19 years old when he went missing. He was 5'8", 140 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He is of Vietnamese descent. His nickname is Fat or Fat, and he does have a scar on his chin. His last known clothing was a red sweatshirt, blue jeans, Timberland boots, and possibly a black suede jacket and a beanie hat. So Chau was last seen in Portland on December 24th, 2005. He was visiting his family for the Christmas holidays at the time. He was last seen on the couch at his family's residence shortly after 1 a.m. on Christmas Eve. Later that morning, his loved ones discovered that he was missing. He left behind his wallet, his car, and his car keys. He had been an honor student at Portland High School, and after graduating, he enrolled in the University of Maine at Orono. Once again, I apologize. On a partial scholarship. He majored in business. He had not registered for spring semester classes, however. He was also having financial problems due to internet gambling, and his family asked him to come home to be closer to them. His loved ones stated that he did not often discuss his personal problems with them, but it is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning, and they do fear for his safety. So if you do have any information, you can call the Portland PD at 207-874-8575. Let me see what I was able to find on him. I don't think a whole lot. So I found this on tapatalk.com. It's a news article that's published or posted on December 2005. Portland police are asking the public for help in finding a man who was last seen on Christmas Eve. The family of Siphat Chau, 19 of Portland, said it is not like him to leave without telling anyone. Chau is described as 5'8" tall, about 140 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing a red sweatshirt with blue jeans, and he might have been wearing a beanie style hat. So this says police would not say whether they suspect foul play was involved, but they hope that getting the word out will help solve the mystery of his disappearance. Portland Police Lieutenant Judy Ridge said, quote, "If we can utilize the public, the press to really help us, maybe somebody knows where he is. I'm not sure the reasons why he left home, but maybe somebody will be able to call us and let us know," end quote. So yeah, so he left his house. So he was sleeping, what did it say? He was sleeping on the couch, or his family said he was sleeping on the couch or somewhere in the home that night. And then that next morning when they got up, he was gone. He didn't take his wallet, keys, anything with him. Said he did have internet gambling problems. They are fearful of his safety. So I don't know if this could possibly be a self-harm. I don't know. Right. All with this one, in my opinion, all possibilities are on the table, just from the little bit of information that we do have. So he did have a web sleuth thread. And I think there was another article. Let's see, or a few articles. This one, February 2006. It's been nearly 2 months since the 19-year-old University of Maine student disappeared from his parents' home in Portland, but family members cling to hope that he is still alive. Siphat Chau vanished during Christmas break, and friends plastered the city with posters of the missing man. His sister, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce her name, said the family is trying to think positively, even though her brother may be deceased. So I guess they think that he may be. So police investigate hundreds of missing persons reports each year. Most are teenage runaways who return safely or are found, but some do turn up deceased, a result of self-harm, accident, or foul play. Others are never found, leaving family members to struggle with uncertainty. All right, so this is an article with maybe with his interview with his sister. I don't know when it was published, but it says a poster hanging in a doorway on Middle Street in Portland asked for help in locating Siphat Chau, 19, who was last seen at his East Deering home just before 1 a.m. on December 24th. Portland police investigate about 180 to 200 missing persons cases annually. That's a lot of, but I don't know how big Portland, Maine is as far as population. So I'm going to try to pronounce her name one time. Pheong Niang is conflicted. Her brother, Siphat Chau, a 19-year-old Portland High School graduate, has been missing for nearly 2 months. He may be deceased, but she feels compelled to hope that he is alive. She said, quote, "We try to think in a positive way. It was hard for us to accept the fact that he was missing. After that, we ran out of ideas of what else we could do. At some point, you have to go on," end quote. Chau is one of the hundreds of missing persons reported to police every year. In Portland alone, police investigate roughly 180 to 200 reports annually. The vast majority are teen runaways who return safely or are found. So that's just repeating what we said earlier. Others are never found. Their disappearances leave family members torn, trapped in a limbo of wanting to be hopeful but facing a grim reality. Some families have struggled to accept their loss and grieve their loved one despite the uncertainty. Others, like Claire Molton, cannot let go. Okay, so this goes into, so Cathy Moulton, which she, I believe I have her, we're going to talk about her. I'll go ahead and read it though. Claire says, quote, "It's bad not knowing because I keep hoping maybe maybe somewhere she's out there and has amnesia or something." Said Molton, no, so it's her mom. Said Molton, whose 16-year-old daughter Cathy disappeared from Portland in 1971. Molton and her husband never moved and never changed their telephone number on the remote chance that their daughter, who would now be 50, might make contact. Molton concedes that it's not a likely or logical hope, but she can't bring herself to give up. She said, quote, "We have tried to face the reality that chances are she might not be alive, but you can't help but hold out hope. I certainly hope that Chau's relatives don't go through years like we did before they find out something," end quote. Chau's case is one of several in Portland each year that do not involve young runaways, according to Police Lieutenant Vernon Malik, who is head of Portland's Criminal Investigation Division. Lieutenant Malik said, quote, "Most of them are resolved sooner than this. People either have left and established contact on their own, or they are the victim of foul play, or met some time of untimely death, self-harm, OD, something along those lines," end quote. Chau, whose parents immigrated from Vietnam, came to Portland as a child. He was an honor student at Portland High. He attended the Seeds of Peace camp and earned a partial college scholarship when he graduated in 2005. Friends say that he was charming. He was very outgoing. They say he could be withdrawn, however, when it came to personal problems. And he was uncertain about his future, waiting until the last minute to enroll as a freshman business major at the University of Maine in Orono last fall. He did not enroll for the spring semester. Chau had many problems as a result of gambling on the internet, according to his father. So he was asked to come home to be close to the family. John Chau said of the gambling, quote, "I didn't even know that he was doing that. I asked him all the time and he said, no more," end quote. Siphat was very upset about the situation, according to his father, but the pair had grown distant in the past year, and he said his son would not listen to his advice. John Chau said, quote, "He's always thinking he wants to do everything by himself and not depend on family. I still feel very bad that I didn't keep close with him. He's always thinking I don't love him and I love him very much," end quote. Oh, it just breaks my heart. So Chau was visiting his parents' East Deering home during Christmas break when he disappeared. His sister saw him on the living room couch with his computer just before 1 a.m. on December 24th. Later that morning, his mother woke and found that he was gone and he had left his car keys and his wallet. After searching the city, friends alerted police to Chau's disappearance on December 27th. Friends put up posters around Portland appealing for help. Police interviewed people who knew him, developing a timeline of the hours and days before his disappearance, and searched tidal waters near the family home. So it always scares me when there's water close by. Lieutenant Malik said, quote, "So much time goes by and they haven't reached out to family or friends. The person just seems to have disappeared, which always raises our concern that the person may have met with foul play or otherwise deceased." Deputy Chief William Ridge said that Chau's disappearance is similar in some ways to that of Margaret Tavanian, a 65-year-old woman who vanished from her home on Cedar Street in 1996. He says, quote, "We had nothing to work on. If they came into foul play, we found no crime scene for either of them. If it was self-harm, they left no notice of that. I would put every resource I had into this if I knew where to put them," end quote. So they just don't even really obviously have a starting place. He basically just most likely just walked out the door and just just disappeared. John Chau thinks that searching the shore for his son's body is a logical next step. Excuse me. Finding the truth, even if it is painful, is crucial, he said. His dad said, quote, sometimes when there's a car around my neighborhood here, they open or close the door, we're thinking, oh, my son is coming back. If he's missing, we're still thinking from year to year, never able to sleep well and crying all the time, end quote. Narciso Torres understands that feeling. He has come to accept the reality that his son Angel is deceased, though there are times when he reacts unexpectedly to a telephone ringing or an answering machine message. Angel Tony Torres, 21, was last seen with friends in Bidford in 1999. His father said, quote, the more time that has gone by, the more we have accepted that he is gone. We've got a death certificate from the state of Maine, and that has some closure to it. There will never be any real closure until we find his remains, end quote. He says, quote, I think it's harder when someone has disappeared as opposed to someone you know is deceased. We don't know what happened. He is just gone. We never really got to say goodbye, end quote. That is true. It's just, see if there's anything else on here. So somebody posted on the thread in September 2023 or 2022. Apparently they had said, I heard back from the public information officer about why Siphat is not listed on the Maine.gov missing persons list. And that is because, quote, Maine State Police is not investigating his disappearance. Portland and Bangor PDs are the only agencies in the state that investigate their own homicides and or missing persons suspicious circumstances. MSP investigates the rest along with the respective local agency, end quote. So he's not, apparently as of 2022, he wasn't listed on Maine.gov missing persons list, even though he went missing in Maine. Somebody else said, I came across a student newspaper from SMU. It lists a street near his house. According to Google Maps, that road is close to the ocean. It's very possible he ended up in the ocean. Let's see. I think that was it. Yeah, so I don't know if it was just a matter of with his gambling problems. Maybe he did have some mental health issues. It didn't say, he did any kind of alcohol or substances, but I don't know. The vibe I get is he just, for some reason, whatever reason, he just got up and walked out and left. Didn't take his wallet, didn't take his car keys. So possible self-harm. I don't know. Just always, as always, you guys let me know what you think. It's just so sad. So sad. All right, let me get caught up. I think that was the last that I had for him. Let me get the other article loading so it won't take forever. All right. Let me find where I left off here. 1 second. There it is. Junior says the weather, talking about Cape Cod, the weather was nice, but the water was freezing. Okay, thank you, Simi. Simi says, Siphat Chau. That's how you say it. Thank you so much. And I apologize for pronouncing it wrong. I have trouble with names. Siphat Chau. Thank you. Um, hey, Angel Bear, welcome. It's another new name for me. Good to have you here. It says, hey, my bestie is in here. Who's your bestie? Thank you, Miss PJ. Says she'd like to share it on social media. Thank you so much, my dear. Let's see. Yeah, that is true. Z says if it were self harm, you would think they would have found him. I wonder if someone found out that he owed. Oh, that's I didn't think about that. I wonder if someone found out that he owed money to. If he walked away, you would think he would take his wallet. That is true. Because it said it was an online internet gambling. But now that doesn't mean he wasn't doing, like you said, other kind of gambling where you would have somebody that you owed money to, most definitely. So that is a possibility. And also, as far as self-harm, they say it said that the ocean was very close to where he lived. Now, if he went into the ocean, you might not be able to find him. But yeah, that's a good point about maybe owing somebody money. Yeah, Junior says if he just walked away, you would think someone would have seen him or found him. Yep. Z says he is also the right age for some mental health issues too. That could cause some of the gambling issues. I always think of schizophrenia with young men, especially. Yep, absolutely. That's another possibility. Z says that's why you wonder if someone came to the door, he answered and left with them. That is also a good possibility. Oh, Echoes is in the house. Hola. Good to see you, my brother. I hope you and Mrs. Echoes are doing well on this Monday. Junior says, I tried gambling. I was horrible at it, so I quit. I, I've never been a gambler. I mean, when we used to go to the casino every once in a while, like down in Tunica. And I would, take like $20 with me and I would play like these slot machines, like the quarter slot machines. And once I lost my $20, that was it. I was done. Yeah. Z says I worked too hard for my money and wouldn't part with it that way for chance. I'm with you there. Yeah, Gina says it's not fun when you're losing. Yep. Echo says the house always wins. You are correct. Z says in 2005 there weren't many personal cameras outside people's homes. That is true. Yeah, it's not like it is today where just about everybody has some kind of, ring camera, Nest camera, whatever, where you could kind of track people. If they walked out of a house, walking down the streets, you could kind of track them. Z says, came home for the holidays and was just overwhelmed is a huge possibility. True. My heart breaks for the family. Absolutely. Yes, Miss PJ says holidays are stressful. You're correct. Yes, Simi says it's great to have new people here. Absolutely. I always love seeing new faces. Paula says she's been up to Portland a couple of times. It's nice there. Hey, UCC. I don't know if I said hi to you. Says that the mob was making him an example, kind of pointless unless he was found. True. Yeah, I don't get mob vibes from it. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe he just walked out for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe that was to the holidays and being around the family, because apparently he didn't like to talk. He didn't like to talk about his problems to the family, especially about the gambling. And maybe, like I said, with the holidays are stressful enough as it is, and he may have walked out and either something happened. Now, something nefarious or something, nefarious could have happened to him after he walked out of the house. And maybe he was just planning on, since he didn't take his wallet keys, maybe he was just going to go for a walk and something happened. Nefarious accident, whatever. Or he just walked out and was not planning to come back. Also a possibility. All right, I think I'm caught up again. No, I hate this little thing is in my way. It won't let me. There we go. Okay. Remember to advance my. Oh, nope, I went backwards. All right, so this, man, it's hot. Hold on. All right, so this is Cathy Moulton. So they mentioned in the article that I was reading about, I forgot how to pronounce his name again. Siphat. Mentioned Cathy Moulton. So Cathy has been missing since September 24th, 1971, the year I was born. Long time ago. She is a white female. She was just 16 years old when she went missing. She'll be 70 years old as of 2026. And when she went missing, she was 5'4" tall and 98 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. It says her 4 bicuspid teeth may have been removed, and she wore braces on her teeth and thick eyeglasses with heavy dark-colored plastic frames. She has scars on both of her feet from a wart removal. She has a white spot on her left elbow, and flat moles are scattered across her back. She was last known to be wearing a navy blue all-weather coat and navy blue pant dress and brown leather shoes. So Cathy planned to attend a YWCA dance during the evening hours of September 24th, 1971, in her hometown of Portland. She asked her father to drop her off on Cumberland Avenue that afternoon. Apparently, she wanted to purchase a pair of pantyhose and some toothpaste before preparing for the dance. She stopped by a music store on Forest Avenue later in the day to visit a friend. She told her friend that she would walk home and would see her at the dance that evening. So Cathy was last seen walking down Forest Avenue to head home. And it says her residence was just about 1.5 miles away. She was carrying a brown leather Mexican clutch purse, which contained her house keys, 2 tubes of toothpaste, and just a very small amount of cash. It said it wasn't not even enough cash to buy a bus ticket. She never arrived home. She has not been seen again. Her parents reported her missing after she was not home by dinner time. So it does say that it's possible that Cathy left of her own accord with her friend Lester Everett. Some witnesses had seen Cathy getting into a blue car with 2 older boys on the day of her disappearance. It says that this Lester Everett had stolen a Falmouth, Maine woman's blue 4-door 1963 Cadillac and picked up another man named Ronald Reed Purley, who was a Canadian national in his 20s, and offered to drive him to the Tobique Reserve, which is just over the Canadian border outside of Perth Andover, New Brunswick. Did you get all that? So a garage employee at Fort Fairfield in Aroostook, Aroostook County remembered seeing Cathy, Everett, and Pearlie. They came to the garage to buy new tires for the Cadillac. The employee said that Pearlie appeared to be controlling Cathy's movements, even walking her to and from the bathroom with his hand on the back of her neck. So that's obviously not good. So across the border on the Tobique Reserve, witnesses said that they saw Everett and Cathy for a few days in September 1971 before the pair went to a farm in the Mars Hill area of Aroostook County, apparently to harvest potatoes. One witness, another teen girl who had been there for the potato harvest, said Cathy was using the first name Candy and that she cried often. She seemed fearful of the other men that were working on the farm and that said that she wanted to go home. So one night, Everett and Cathy left the farm. Everett returned the next morning and said that he had dropped Cathy off at another camp. In fact, he had brought her back across the Canadian border to the Tobique Reserve and left her with this Pearlie fella. So at the end of the potato harvest, Everett and a few others left for Florida to pick oranges. He never returned to Maine to live and said that he did not know what happened to Cathy. Everett passed away of cancer in the mid-1980s. Pearlie, who has served time for SA and home invasion, has long been the focus of the investigation. He has refused to cooperate with the police, even when he was offered immunity from prosecution if he will provide details as to what happened to Cathy. So investigators believe that Cathy did pass away on the Tobique Reserve sometime before Thanksgiving 1971, but they never had enough evidence to charge or to file charges against anyone or even get warrants to search Pearlie's family home. In 1983, a hunter said that he came across a skeleton in the woods near Smyrna, Maine, surrounded by female clothing. Some investigators believe the remains were Cathy's. However, the hunter was unable to retrace his footsteps and lead police back to the site. And the bones were never seen again. Oh my goodness. That's just crazy. So Cathy was a junior at Deering High School at the time of her disappearance. She gave no indications that she was unhappy, and investigators don't believe that she intended to run away on the day of her disappearance. Her father passed away in 2017, but her mother is still alive and continues to hope for a resolution in her case. So that just blows my mind that so you would think, so most hunters have a pretty good sense of, unless it was a hunter that had never hunted in this particular place before. I mean, I know the hunters in my family, of course, they know our land like the back of their hand, but if they go, most hunters can keep up with where they're going and where they're at. It can usually find a place again. It's just crazy to me that this hunter could not lead the police back to the place where he saw the bone or saw the clothing. Anyway, so if you do have any information, you can call the Portland PD once again at 207-874-8479. And let me see what I was able to find. So I was able to find, it's actually a PDF, so it may take a minute to load. So I will check your comments while it's loading, but it's fairly lengthy, but I will try to get through it. Let me see. There we go. Ms. Z says, I'm assuming going back to Siphat's case, She says, like we discussed last night, there is debt trafficking. You owe people money and they put you into servitude. We discussed this last night. Oh, I was not aware of that. That's interesting. But I understand that. Yeah, I understand the concept. Most definitely. Let me see. What? UCC said binging pant dress. Oh, are you talking about the? Yeah, I don't know what a pant dress. I've heard of dress pants when it was describing Cathy's less known clothing, but yeah, a pant dress. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Yeah, Z says that car ride isn't sounding good. Yeah, the car ride and the fact that when they were at the gas station or the garage getting new tires put on the car, that a witness saw, was it Pearlie? One of them, I think it was Pearlie, was wouldn't let Cathy go anywhere, even going back and forth to the bathroom with her with his hand on her neck. Yeah, definitely not a good sign. Yeah, I believe he did have a record. Chris said, I'm wondering if Pearlie has or had a record. Yeah, I think he had SA and home invasion, I believe. Exactly. Z says, so these people saw a young girl being manhandled and seemed to be taken, and they did nothing. Don't even speak with her to find out what is going on. I know. If I see something like that, I'm definitely going to say something to somebody. I'll most likely go up to her and pretend like I know her and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Come talk to me. Bring attention to her and to the people, and try to get her separated from the person. Hey, Butterfly Kisses, good to see you. Yeah, worst. Z says worst hunter ever. I know, because like I said, hunters know. I mean, hunters have to say if it's deer season, they've taken a deer that didn't immediately go down. They can track that. Which you have things you can go by to track the deer. But yeah, most hunters can take you, even if they've never been there before. If it's the first time ever been to a certain place, usually they can take you right back to that to a place. I mean, it's just, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's not a very good hunter if it can, you know, take you, at least get in the general vicinity where the police can look around and find the clothes or whatever. That just blew my mind. Z says, sounds like a silly young girl who takes a ride with someone and then she is taken. Yep, absolutely. See, Junior says also, that's definitely strange that the hunter could not find the place where he says he saw bones and clothes. I'd be suspicious of him. I didn't think about that. Hey, Nicole, good to see you, my dear. I'm glad you made it. Okay, so UCC says pants, dresses I saw were mostly formal wear, kind of like a small jacket top with a belt, skirt, long and opened up to show the slim pants. Gotcha. That could be. Z says, I wonder if the hunter was warned off, as in whoever whoever it was that put her out there, if it was her, said, hey, back off, don't say anything else about it or you'll be next, type of thing. That is true. As he says, sadly, those bones would still be there. It's disappointing they can't get someone from the reserve to authorize the search. Absolutely. Junior says, I wonder if the hunter had anything to do with her disappearance. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. Z says, I would think if he did, why would he tell anyone he found bones and clothing? That's a good point. All right. All right, so the PDF finally loaded. I'll try to get through it quickly. It's from portlandmonthly.com. It's called Lost in the Dreamtime, the baffling disappearance of Cathy Moulton. So at 5:30 p.m. on September 24th, 1971, Cathy Marie Moulton stepped down from the granite steps of Starbird Music, then on Upper Forest Avenue, into the dark chasm of the missing and the lost. In a split second of eternity, carrying only a new pair of pantyhose and 2 tubes of toothpaste and a hand-tooled Mexican handbag, Cathy walked from the all too predictable and planned life of a 16-year-old high school student into oblivion. Although modern man likes to think of himself as fixed in time, located and firmly rooted on earth, there were no phone calls, no handwritten letters, not even a strand of light brown hair lying on the shoulder of a lonely road somewhere to testify to Cathy's passing. Like footprints in the sand, only unanswered questions and a sun-faded 1971 photograph were left behind to haunt friends and family with their implications. The passenger's manifest to the realm of the missing goes back to antiquity and reveals no secrets other than thousands of puzzling disappearances, including persons, as historian J. Robert Nash notes, quote, who vanish inside ship staterooms while swimming underwater and into a fog, end quote. Many disappear with circumstances which buoy up likely explanations. Michael Rockefeller was last seen making for the Papua New Guinean coast, grasping 2 5-gallon gasoline cans from a swamp canoe. Others vanished into a realm their personal history seems to prepare for them, such as a political professor and intriguer Thomas Rhea, who failed to show up for classes in 1969 amid rumors that he was abducted by the CIA. But most intriguing are those persons who, like writer Ambrose Bierce, calmly and inexplainably step over the border of the unknown into nothingness. Nothing in Cathy Moulton's abbreviated past seems to indicate that she was tagged for the missing. Born in Portland on June 28, 1955, Cathy and her 2 younger sisters, Pamela and Kimberly, grew up with firm but compassionate parents in a white clapboard house down the street from Deering High School. Lyman Molton, who owned Ray Moulton's used cars until he retired in 1978, describes his daughter as quiet and contemplative, who, quote, trusted people and was a good student, end quote. Although she had a few close friends that Cathy left to swing, and when she wasn't babysitting or helping out around the house, she attended dances held at the local 7-Eleven club. Claire Moulton, who is Cathy's mother, said, quote, she seemed to be interested in helping people. She was down the street all the time, sitting with a friend of the family who was paralyzed. It was amazing how well they could communicate, considering he had a speech impairment, end quote. Excuse me. Cathy also sat with some of the elderly in the neighborhood and with a friend who was bedridden by a car accident. Claire said, quote, she felt if you were nice to other people, they would be nice to you, end quote. So it says Claire, or Cathy and her mother had long chats every day after school. Like her father and sisters, Cathy often wrote poetry. and the only suggestion of a furtive inner life is tenuously rooted in this passion. At the time of her disappearance, Cathy admired teacher John Glenn, whom Lyman Moulton claims was, quote, in tune with the hippie generation, and whose classes focused on modern poets. Glenn gave readings at the Gate, which is Portland's eclectic coffee house, and Cathy sometimes stopped by in the afternoon to hear him and others take the podium. In the early 1970s, poetry at the Gate echoed a growing disenchantment with the establishment, with the Vietnam War, and for many, the words spoke of a truth out on the road with Kerouac, Ginsberg, and Ferlinghetti. It is easy to fictionalize an unhappy young girl inspired by atonal lifestyles and romantic cities, hopping a freight west to discover America, but unfortunately, there is no indication of such closure in the case of Cathy Moulton. Even Dean Moriarty left the East Coast with more than 2 tubes of toothpaste and a pair of pantyhose. And while the poetry Cathy left behind reveals a thoughtful and idealistic interior, there's nothing in her verse that even cryptically foreshadows her disappearance. Perhaps the most ironic aspect of Cathy's history was the fact that her life was seemingly just opening up. In the summer of 1971, Lyman took time off from his business, and the Moultons traveled for 81 days throughout the United States and Mexico. It was the first time Cathy had traveled extensively outside of Maine. When she returned to Deering High School in the fall, Cathy was excited enough for Nancy Barlow, who is one of Cathy's girlfriends, to comment that she thought Cathy seemed happier than she had in the past. During the trip, Cathy turned 16, and for her birthday, the Moultons promised Cathy a gift from wherever she saw something that she liked. And it was in Mexico that Cathy picked out the distinctive leather handbag that was to accompany her into the unknown. So that was where she got that Mexican tool clutch bag that she was carrying. Friday, September 24th, after a study hall at school, Cathy rushed home and asked her father to give her a ride into town so she could go shopping. She had had a run in her pantyhose and wanted to get a new pair to wear to the YMCA dance, explains Claire. Mrs. Moulton gave Cathy money and asked her to get 2 tubes of toothpaste while she was out. She also gave Cathy several coins for the bus home. Cathy put what could only have amounted to $2 or $3 in her leather handbag, along with the key to the house, and went out the front door with her father. Left behind were her clothes, makeup, and on a polished dresser upstairs, money that Cathy had made babysitting. And left behind, draped from the back of a chair in her room, was the new skirt that Cathy had made to wear to the dance that evening. Lyman Moulton dropped his daughter off in front of the New England Telephone and Telegraph office on the corner of Cumberland and Forest Avenues at 1:15 p.m. and saw her start up towards Congress Street. Cathy was wearing a navy short-sleeve wool dress, a navy gabardine double-breasted box coat with brass buttons, and carried only her reversible Mexican handbag. A little over 2 hours later, after shopping, Cathy stopped by Starbird Music to talk with classmate Carol Starbird. She told Carol that she was hurrying home to take a shower before the dance, and that as she had spent her bus fare, she was walking. They parted ways, saying that they would see each other that night, and slinging her handbag to her shoulder, Cathy stepped out onto Forest Avenue. When Cathy failed to show up by dinner, Mrs. Moulton began to worry. She said, quote, "In our family, we always called when we were going to be late." At 6:30 p.m., Claire called the police and explained that her daughter had never gone anywhere without notifying them before, and that she wanted to file a missing persons report. So this next part burns me up. She remembers Miss Moulton said, quote, "They laughed at me." She remembers, and the dispatcher told Mrs. Moulton that they would have to wait 72 hours or 3 days before the police could take action. So after checking with hospitals and friends, Lyman Moulton drove down to the police station where he was explained the facts of life. They have that in quotes by the desk sergeant. So what are the facts of life when it comes to a missing teenager? But Molton was persistent and, quote, to shut me up, they let him file a missing persons form. In those tense moments in 1971, the Moltons initiated a vigilance that was to last nearly 2 years. At no time was the front door bolted or the telephone out of earshot in the event that Cathy reappeared or someone called with information. Schedules were rearranged, and Mr. and Mrs. Moulton rarely left the house together. Cathy's room was left untouched in expectation of her return. Oddly enough, the story brought little publicity. In the first 10 days of October, the Portland Press Herald and the Maine Sunday Telegraph each ran a picture in what, with the exception of an article in an old Port newsletter, was to be the only newspaper coverage of Cathy's disappearance. Soon afterwards, the Moultons got in touch with the director of Portland's FBI office, and although he couldn't start an official investigation without evidence of abduction, he managed to get Cathy's picture to appear at the end of several television episodes of the FBI, starring Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. I remember that actor. Investigators at the Portland Police Department, who in 1971 had no funds specifically allocated for missing persons and who were seeing a rash of youngsters, almost 200 a year, leaving home, seemed certain that Cathy was a runaway. And after interviewing family and friends, filed her report with hundreds of other missing Portland teenagers. And in the weeks that followed, the Moultons discovered they were largely on their own, searching for their daughter. Surprise, surprise. I don't agree, quote, I don't agree with the way the police handled things, but I understand they weren't picking on us, end quote, claims Lyman Moulton, who says that he would have acted more aggressively had he known then what he knows now. He said, quote, this was a whole new ballgame for us. We had no real problems to think about. Then something like this happens and you don't know what to do, end quote. It was a period of hope and heartbreak. Early in November, officials at Deering High School cleaned out Cathy's locker and found a phone number scrawled on a scrap of paper. Theories raced through the usually calm Molton household, but the clue only led to a mystery. The 7 digits rang a phone at Molton's own used car lot. Several weeks later, the Moultons received an overdue notice addressed to Cathy for a high school textbook. Really? The school followed up with an apology saying that they had found the book. They're worried about, we have a girl missing, and they're worried about an overdue book. Mrs. Moulton spent much of her time seated beside her upstairs window where she could watch up and down the street for her daughter dressed in navy wool walking home. Meanwhile, flotsam from all points on the compass washed up on the Moulton's doorstep and in Cathy's police file. Mrs. Pinkham from the Giant store in Brunswick picked up a boy and a girl with an unusual looking handbag and gave them a ride into Brunswick Center. A caller reported that they had seen a girl fitting Cathy's description hitchhiking on Route 88 in Falmouth. And a week before Cathy vanished, Harvey Brown, a worker for the Parks Department, saw a black male about 20 years old in 1965 or 66 Pontiac with a damaged left fender, Massachusetts license plates, approach a girl with glasses and long hair. And he said, or the witness said, she got into the car and they drove off. So I'm assuming this witness thought it might have been Cathy. But most of the reports suggested that Cathy disappeared south. The mother of Alvin Drake, then a young man who was often Cathy's partner at local dances, reported to police that the general talk around school was that Cathy went or was on her way to Boston. And Nancy Barlow remembered a girl in Cathy's study hall telling a story about going to Boston and having a good time. And she said that Cathy appeared interested. The most haunting clue came from Westbrook psychic Alex Tannis, who Lyman Molton describes as very dedicated and who offered his services free of charge. Molton explains, quote, "I'm not saying I do or don't believe, but you've got to try these things." One evening, Tannis and Molton went out for a drive around Portland. He, talking about Tannis, felt vibrations, or whatever you want to call them, in the Munjoy Hill area. We came down Congress to Forest and down Forest the way we figured Cathy would have walked home, to the corner of Forest and Park Street across from the post office. Here, he received a sense that Cathy got into a car and drove straight out Forest. And when the car got to either Coyle or Lincoln Street, he wasn't sure which. The car turned left on one of those two streets and headed south towards Boston. Then he, the psychic, apparently lost the vibrations. So after Thanksgiving in 1971, the Moultons received word from the state police that a girl resembling Cathy was living in Presque Isle. Lyman Molton closed up his business and he and Claire drove north. Arriving, Molton discovered that the sheriff's department in Presque Isle knew nothing about Cathy's disappearance nor anything about the girl in the state police report. So Molton says, quote, "They weren't communicating with each other," which is unfortunately not uncommon. So at the time, infuriated, Lyman organized a meeting at E.C. Jordan's Presque Isle office and handed out photographs and a description to the area's police and sheriff's departments. Molton then went door to door, store to store, asking questions and handing out flyers, at one point even crossing into New Brunswick. The police eventually discovered that the girl they had thought might be Cathy was in fact a girl who had disappeared from her home in Connecticut. That girl returned home, and after investigating rumors of a girl who had taken up with an Indian, the Moltons headed back to Portland. Although Molton has been sympathetic to the difficulties presented to the police, he spares no emotion, explaining his frustration with the system. When Cathy vanished, both copies of her Social Security cards were found at home. On the chance that she carried a handwritten copy with her, can you have a handwritten copy of your social? I guess you could write down your number. The Moltons wrote Senator Margaret Chase Smith and asked her to help them trace any activity on Cathy's number to find out if she or anyone else were using it. The Moltons were told that they could write a letter, which they did. Hold on. Ads are popping up, which they did. That would be forwarded to an employer if he reported Cathy's number. He, in turn, was urged to present it to whoever was using the ID. If Cathy were alive and never got the letter, were working under the table or wouldn't respond, or if someone else were using her number, the Moltons would never know, and they haven't heard a word. So apparently nobody had used her Social Security number. Her father said, quote, "I really feel somewhere, sometime, somebody has to do something about access to files, at least make them available to police. I understand families have fights and so on, but when there's a legitimate reason, someone should know." Absolutely. Offers Molton, who feels the barrier is at least in part economic. He says, quote, "That's what gets me. A person is an important thing. You are, I am, and Cathy is. If the government wanted to, they would turn hell and high water over to locate somebody. Just try not paying your taxes." True. But when it comes to the missing persons, the doors are closed. We just want to know what happened to our daughter, end quote. 16 years have passed, and Cathy's body has yet to float to the surface of some reservoir. There have been no deathbed confessions of false identity, nor has a young blue-eyed woman sat suddenly upright in a hospital ward after long years of amnesia asking for her leather handbag. Detective William Deaton of the Portland Police Department said, quote, maybe she's living happily ever after somewhere in Canada. That's where everyone was going in the early 70s, or maybe she's buried in a grave somewhere in Maine or Massachusetts, or a skeleton in a morgue, end quote. I hope he didn't say things like that to the family. He goes on to say, that's the sad thing, we just don't know, end quote. On New Year's Day of 1988, Dietzen pulled Cathy's dog-eared folder from the bottom drawer of his crowded file cabinet and opened it for what may have been the first time in years. Dietzen, who has tracked runaways across the United States for the past 4 years, was unaware of case number 60141 until a colleague mentioned he remembered taking a photograph to a Portland couple who had not seen their daughter since 1971. Dietzen says, quote, we get runaways 5 to 10 a week, but here was a missing person. Says Dietzen, who claims that actual missing persons are rare in Portland. The discovery nudged Dietzen, a 19-year veteran and father of 4 daughters, to reopen the case and give Cathy and her family what he modestly terms a fair shake. A fair shake for the busy youth aid detective who finds 5 to 6 juvenile cases on his desk each morning. 1 or 2 of them runaways meant ringing the Molton's doorbell and spending several hours sifting through the poems, letters, and belongings of a girl who, if she is alive, will be 33 in June. As Dietzen reveals, quote, I've got the best of both worlds. I'm a father and a policeman. I have a luxury in that if something were to happen to my family, I can do something. I want to give them, the Moltons, that luxury. Yeah, you can bet that if it was a police officer's daughter that went missing, they wouldn't have laughed like they laughed at Cathy's mom when she tried to report her missing. Although Lyman and Claire Moulton have learned over the years not to get their hopes up, they are delighted someone has taken interest in their daughter. Lyman said, quote, you don't know how important it is to have anyone try to do something after all these years. It's more than we ever hoped would happen, end quote. So that's just sad that they're just happy that anybody is taking interest in their daughter's case. He goes on to say, quote, the older you get, the faster time goes. No, that's her mom. Her mom said, the older you get, the faster time goes, Claire remarks with wet eyes. We love Cathy, and if she is alive, we would like to have the family reunited. If not, well, we would like to know that too. The hardest part is not knowing. Wow. I know that was a long article, but I just can't get over the fact that it said when her mom tried to report her missing, the police or the desk sergeant or whoever actually laughed. You don't do that. You don't do. Anyway. I think I had a little short article, maybe a newer article. This is it's from September 2023. Portland police are asking for help from the public for information related to a missing persons case from more than 5 decades ago. 50 years. The Portland Police Department, in a Facebook post, said that 16-year-old Cathy Marie Moulton was reported missing 52 years ago. So it's been longer than that. Molton was last seen on Forest Avenue wearing a navy blue all-weather coat and was carrying a brown leather bag. She was approximately 5'4", weighed 98 pounds. She was just 16 years old when she left home to run errands on September 24th, 1971, and never returned. Her disappearance is one of the oldest active missing persons cases in Maine and the United States. Just trying to see if, so she went to the former Portis, Mitchell and Braun retail store on Congress Street in Portland to buy what she needed. She stopped at Starbird Music on Forest Avenue to visit a friend. She was never seen again after she left Starbird Music, and the cold case remains unsolved. Kevin Cady, who's a retired Portland Police Department detective, told the Press Herald in a 2021 interview, quote, "The story back then was she just disappeared like she was abducted by aliens on Forest Avenue. Until we looked into this, that is all we had," end quote. So Cady worked on the case in the 1990s, and then he wrote a book about the case, which was published in 2016. Cady interviewed Molton's best friend and discovered that she had an older boyfriend, Lester Everett. Witnesses reported seeing Cathy get into a blue car on September 24th with two older boys. Cady would later discover that Everett had picked up this Canadian man, that Pearly, and offered to drive him 300 miles north to the Tobique Reservation outside of Perth Andover, New Brunswick. But he believes that Cathy did not know about that plan when she got in the car. Portland police now believe that she was taken north from Portland against her wishes. She was prevented from leaving while working on a potato farm in Aroostook County before she passed away on a Maliseet Tobique First Nations reservation in New Brunswick. Cathy's body has never been recovered. No official suspects have been named in her case. And Everett passed away of cancer in 1986. I'm assuming, I can't remember, did it say if the Pearly fellow was still alive? Because I think he was the one that had the convictions for SA and home invasion. The details of Cady's investigation are outlined in his book, Cathy Moulton, Missing and Endangered, a Cold Case Missing Persons Investigation. The investigation into her disappearance remains open, and detectives follow any leads or new information in the case. If anyone has the information that could help solve this crime, people are asked to call the Portland Police or Portland PD at 207-874-8575. To provide information anonymously, call 207-874-8584 and leave a message on the department's crime tip line. See, I have questions about my main suspect would be the Pearly fella, because he was the one that the witnesses said was had the hand on the back of the neck and wouldn't let her go anywhere. But then Everett was, when they got to the potato farm, it was Everett, right, that left. She left with Everett, and he came back and she didn't. And he said that he didn't know where she went. So both of them. I have questions. Right. I think that is all I had on her. All right. I'm sure y'all have lots and lots of comments. Let me get a drink. My throat is dry. All right. Let me find my little blue star. There it is. Chris says, I'm assuming you're going back to the other. Or are you talking about the hunter? Chris said, could he have been confused? You have to let me know which case you're talking about. Junior said, that's me, the hippie generation. I should have been born in the 60s. I have a hippie soul. UCC says beat poets of the 50s have a lot to answer for. Oh, true. Junior says she's just 2 years younger than me. That is true. That I found that odd. Junior says I don't know many hippie girls who wore pantyhose. Well, maybe it was just special for the dance. I don't know. Z says it was her teacher who was a hippie. I don't think she was. Oh yeah, I was talking about the teacher. Yeah, that she liked. Junior says she was very young to be hitchhiking and going places by herself. Yeah, but back in the 60s, 70s, it wasn't unusual. People unfortunately did hitchhike a lot. Junior said, "Where are the parents?" You talking about now? I think her father passed away. Hold on, let me go back to her Charley Project information. Her father passed away in 2017. Says her mother is still alive and continues to hope for a resolution. So I don't know if she's still living in Portland or not. Yep, Doodles and Grace says she was young for hitchhiking. Yeah. Once again, though, it was not uncommon. Yep. Z says, yeah, sadly, back in the 70s, they didn't think about it being so dangerous. Absolutely. Good Lord. Mustang says, I started hitchhiking at 12. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and hitchhiking even in the 80s, like Mustang said, it was, people, I don't know if they did it as much as back in the 60s and 70s, but yeah. Yeah. Looking back at some of the things we did when we were younger, yeah, definitely scary, as Doodles and Gray says. Goodness. Junior says, I hitchhiked across Canada and down to California and back to Michigan when I was 17. Lordy, I'm gonna have to have Junior on here to tell us some of his stories. Yeah, Doodle says you two were rebels. That is true. Z says, sadly, Native families are still laughed at when they report missing people. I know. To this day, infuriates me. Yeah, when I read that about Cathy, her mom trying to report, and they basically laughed in her face. Oh my Lord. I would have had to fly over that desk, and I'm not a fighting person, but I would have had to done something. Yep, I agree. Junior says that Pearly guy sounds suspicious to me. Absolutely, especially with his history of SA. Yeah, Mustang says pantyhose went with the bras into the fire. Yeah, you are right. Junior said I would have made a good hippie. I'm telling you, I have a hippie soul. I do. I do. Junior says, then you would have thought that they would, talking about the parents, they would have been a little stricter and kept an eye on what she was doing. That is true. That is true. All right. I think I'm caught. Oh, no, I don't want to delete Junior. I'm trying to. There we go. Oh, I did too. Mustang says she likes hippie music. Me too. I love me some 60s music. Z says depends on how far from the store was from her home back in the 70s. You didn't worry about your kids and predators. That's true. She also told someone she ran into that she didn't have any bus money. I think it said it was 1.5 miles apparently from the store to her house. So that's a pretty, I mean, it's not like a forever distance, but it's a pretty good ways. It says Cathy was last seen walking down Forest Avenue to head home. Her residence was about 1.5 miles away. So, all right, let's see who we have next. We have, let me get the information. I think this is our last one. No, maybe not. So this is, get another drink. Sebastian Kelly. So Sebastian has been missing since June 16th, 2017 from Portland. He's a black male, 30 years old. When he went missing, 5'11" tall, 190 to 200 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He has the following tattoos. He has the name Willow Grace on the left side of his neck, a skeleton surrounded by flames on his right wrist, and the word faith on top of his hand. His tongue, right nostril, and both ears are pierced. He has 7 scars on his abdomen from stab wounds. He has 2 surgical scars on his back and a scar on his right eyebrow. His 2 upper front teeth are missing, and he wears upper and lower braces on his teeth. He was last known to be wearing a plain white t-shirt, black shorts, black Nike sneakers with a white swoosh on the side, sunglasses, a black bandana, and possibly a black backpack. So he did sustain a serious head injury on the day of his disappearance and is in need of medical attention. So he was last seen in Portland on June 16, 2017. He was assaulted that day and went to the Maine Medical Center to get treatment for his injuries. He was diagnosed with swelling and bleeding in his brain, and he left the hospital against medical advice. So yeah, that is definitely, obviously not good. Afterwards, he went to see his sister at her apartment on Gilman Street. Sorry, I've got a hair or something. I can't get it off. Anyway, so he went to his sister's apartment on Gilman Street. He has never been heard from again. So I wonder if he left. Did he leave the apartment? They say it is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning, and his loved ones fear that he met with foul play. He had a good relationship with the mother of his 3-year-old daughter, although they were no longer seeing each other, and his case remains unsolved. So once again, if you have any information, you can call the Portland PD at 207-874-8524. So I'm hoping, I can't remember what I was able to find. I was able to find a couple of articles, maybe give a little bit more, because I wonder if he did he leave the sister's apartment? So this first article is from July 2017. Sebastian Kelly's sister reported him missing on June 17, 2017. It's been nearly a month, and friends and family have still not heard from him and are looking for answers. Kelly's fiance, Cassie, said, quote, "It is not like him at all," end quote. He would never go this long without contacting someone. Portland police say Kelly is 30 years old, 5'11", roughly 200 pounds. He has black hair, brown eyes, the neck tattoo that says Willow Grace. I'm going to assume maybe that's the daughter's name. Dowdy, who is the fiance, says, quote, he's been through a lot, but he's a really good person. I just hope he is okay, end quote. Dowdy was told by police that they received a tip from someone that led them to search the Presumpscot River. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Over the weekend, Westbrook police were not willing to confirm or deny that statement. Dowdy was also told by police that Portland Police Department and Westbrook Police Department are now working on the investigation together. Dowdy said, quote, I think he is scared and he is hiding. He doesn't know who to trust or who to reach out to, end quote. So I wonder if he had some kind of beef with somebody or some kind of, I wonder, or who he would be afraid of. Or maybe, well, it said, I don't know, maybe it said he had been assaulted. So that would definitely make, he had been assaulted. So I guess that means he was assaulted and he's scared, he was hiding, didn't know who to trust or who to reach out to. So Dowdy says that she heard rumors that Kelly had got beat up after trying to steal something and was recovering from his injuries somewhere. Once again, police are asking anyone with information to contact Detective Beaumont at 207-874-8524. And I can't believe that they let him leave the. But I guess you can't really make somebody, even if you have bleeding in the head, that you can't really make somebody stay if they refuse treatment. All right, so the next article, if it'll come up, 1 second. This might be from around the same time frame, from July of 2017. The last time friends and family heard from missing Portland man Sebastian Kelly was exactly a month ago, and they say their hope is slowly fading. Kelly's high school sweetheart, Jessica Moore, said, quote, this amount of time is not normal. Something is wrong. It's torture, pure torture. I would just like some answers, just something, end quote. Moore describes Kelly as a man with a good heart who loves to laugh. She says, quote, he was funny, he was silly, he was very respectful. He made me feel comfortable just being myself, end quote. The two have a 3-year-old daughter together, and while they went their separate ways romantically, their relationship remained close. When Kelly stopped all contact with her in June, she knew instantly that something was not right. She said, quote, it's hard because I feel like foul play is a big elephant in the room at this point. Obviously, something is wrong, end quote. Portland police say family and friends last saw Kelly on June 17th near Gilman Street in Portland. They are guarded about giving up any more details and say that they are following up on all leads that come in. Kelly's fiance, Cassie Dowdy, says police told her one tip led to the search over the weekend in the river, but they are still no closer to answers. As the days turn to months, Mars says the family's flicker of hope is fading. They hope someone can lead them to answers. Sorry, everything jumped. They hope someone can lead them to answers instead of more dead ends. Mars says, quote, just please don't hold back. Give us something, anything. We just want answers, end quote. So I wonder what the police know that, I mean, obviously we know that police aren't going to, they're going to keep things to themselves. And they said they got a tip. A tip they got was what led them to search the river that I can't pronounce correctly. Presumpscot. I don't know if that's close or not. But I wonder if they know who beat him, who assaulted him. Is there any witnesses? If he told them who assaulted them, or maybe didn't want to tell them who assaulted him out of fear. I don't know. I think that is all I had on him. Yeah, it's just, and I still just don't see how they could let him. I know you can refuse treatment, but I mean, if he had bleeding on the brain and swelling on the brain, it looks like to me there could have been something that they could have done to kept him out of the hospital. All right. Let me get that loading. Get your comments. Let me see. Ms. Z says she loves the name Sebastian. Yep, I have a great nephew named Sebastian. Love that name. And then, of course, I'm my 80s hair bands. I love Skid Row, and Sebastian Bach was a singer for Skid Row. I've always loved that name. But yeah, my oldest nephew they named their little boy Sebastian. Hey, Boston Christian, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, definitely. Mustang's got the red flags. I know. I want to know more about who beat him up, who assaulted him. Do they know? Do they know? Were there witnesses? His family said they thought he was hiding out because he was scared and didn't know who to trust or who to go to. I mean, was there some beef going on, some kind of deal going bad or something? I don't know. I'm not suggesting that he was into anything illegal, but I mean, it's just something you have to think about. Oh, Lord. Junior says, Dawn needs some hard, sweet tea. I bet she'd be a blast. Let me tell you something. For one, I'm too old to drink anymore because I can't do the hangovers. But back in the day, back in my younger days, I did my fair share, more than my fair share of drinking. And I remember one night, and I was old enough to drink. It was when I was actually, over 21, old enough to drink because I started young. Me and some friends went to one of the local bar restaurants. They had bands playing, so we went to listen to the band and have some drinks. And I ordered, somebody ordered, or somebody said wanted me to try a Long Island iced tea. I don't know if any of you ever had a Long Island iced tea. So I had one, or had the first one. It's feeling good. I had gone to use the restroom, came back, and there was another Long Island iced tea waiting on me when I got back. So stupid me drank that one. Do not remember the ride home. I remember the only thing I remember was I was in the back seat. Apparently they just threw me in the back seat because I could walk. Threw me in the back seat of my car. I don't know who was driving. Hopefully I'm assuming whoever was driving was sober. I remember we had to stop and at a train crossing, and the train, I swear it took 3 days for the train to finish. And so we made it back we'd all met at a Walmart parking lot where we parked our vehicles and went in one vehicle. I remember, I'm not trying to be gross, but I remember getting rid of the Long Island iced teas in the Walmart parking lot. And then somehow I made it home and into my bed. That's my story. I'm sticking to. Oh my God. I had the worst hangover the next day. I just can't do the hangovers anymore. I think I was usually a fun drunk. I don't know. I wasn't a drunk, but when I drank, I was fun. Man, just thinking about that now just makes me sick. I'm like, oh, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it anymore. Not in my old age. Junior says, what happened to Sebastian Rogers? I still haven't found him. I know. I haven't heard any new developments. Now, there's one channel that just, I'm not going to mention the channel. I used to watch the channel, not so much anymore. But just, that's all they do is cover, just every little, I don't know. Anyway. But as far as from law enforcement or anything official, I have not heard anything on Sebastian Rogers' case in a long time. So I'm assuming that they haven't had any new developments or leads or anything to report. How long has it been now? Has it been a year? 2 years? Oh, goodness. I need to, no, I never danced on the, Junior says dancing on the bar. I never danced on the bar. Well, I don't know. I'm going to say I never remember dancing on a bar. Yeah, it was quite entertaining, apparently. Now, I did get inebriated one time and dance on the dance floor, and I'm not a dancer. But apparently I was that night. Oh, goodness. That was a different night. That was a different night at a different bar. Anyway. Oh, goodness. Now y'all got me telling off on myself. Okay. I think we got... Oh. Trying to mark... There we go. Okay. I think we got one more. Let me make sure y'all got me thinking about my younger, wilder days now. Okay. So I think this is our last one. Let me push the right buttons here. All right. This is Miguel Oliveras. Miguel has been missing since September 3rd, 2006 from Portland. He is an Hispanic male. He was 24 years old when he went missing. He will be 44 years old as of 2026. When he went missing, he was 5'11" tall, 170 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He does have tattoos on his right hand, both arms and his back, the back of his neck, and on his shoulder. He was last known to be wearing a gray and white camouflage print long sleeve shirt over a white long sleeve t-shirt, dark green cargo shorts, and sneakers. So Miguel resided in the Hyde Park area of Boston, Massachusetts in 2006. His ex-girlfriend, with whom he was on friendly terms, sent him money to take a bus to Portland to visit her on August 31st. He was last seen at his ex-girlfriend's workplace on September 3rd, 2006. She is an exotic dancer at the now defunct Platinum Plus nightclub on Riverside Street. So apparently Miguel was asked to leave as he was discouraging men from tipping his friend or ex-girlfriend, whatever she was. He walked out of the club without incident. He was last seen in the parking lot at around 1 a.m., accompanied by an unidentified white male. So Miguel did have a troubled past. He had had some run-ins with law. Investigators theorize that someone from Boston caused his disappearance. At the time of his disappearance, he had no car, no cell phone, no luggage, no bank account, very little money. He was unemployed, so he didn't have anything. He is a father of 2 children. His loved one stated that he did keep in daily touch with his mother, and it is uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning. His ex-girlfriend has been cooperative in the investigation. She did pass a polygraph, and his case remains unsolved. So if you do have any information, you can call the Portland PD at 207-874-8524. Let me see. So I was actually able to find an interview with his mother from fairly recently, either 2025 or 2026. So this is from March of 2026, so really recent. And it's from WMTW.com. As always, all the links to all the online sources I use are in the description box. So feel free to read them at your leisure, share them out, whatever you would like to do with them to help bring more awareness to this case. So it says Myrna Gonzalez has been haunted by the mysterious disappearance of her son Miguel, who was last seen in Portland, Maine, nearly 20 years ago. On Thursday, Gonzalez traveled from her home in Boston to Portland Police Headquarters, where she sat down exclusively with Maine's Total Coverage. I'm assuming it's a local news outlet. She said, quote, "I miss him. I just want to bring him home. That was my best friend, my son. I know someone knows something. I just want someone to come forward," end quote. Police said that Oliveras, 24, was last seen at 1 a.m. on September 2nd, 2006, outside the former Platinum Plus strip club on Riverside Street in Portland. Gonzalez says she believes her son, whom family and friends called Mickey, was lured there. She said, quote, I honestly think that my son was set up. That's why the female sent for him," end quote. So I'm assuming she meant the female by sending for him was the ex-girlfriend, maybe, because it didn't mention any other females. But then they said the ex-girlfriend had been cooperative and she passed a polygraph. But polygraphs are unreliable, we know that. So the investigation revealed that Oliveras came to visit a woman that he knew who worked at the strip club. Gonzalez said the woman sent her son bus money and asked him to come. So it was her. Gonzalez said the woman picked him up at the bus station and then the two went to the club. Police say Oliveras was asked to leave the club and he did without incident. There is a photo of the surveillance video showing Oliveras and another man outside of the club. Investigators said they have identified and interviewed everybody that was there that night, including the man that he was seen with. Detectives believe that Oliveras was killed and his body was dumped somewhere. Portland Police Lieutenant Nicholas Goodman said, quote, "We can reveal that detectives Haggerty and Tully have developed suspects in this and developed good leads to where Mickey is, and we are close to bringing him home to his mom," end quote. Thought I heard thunders. Either thunder or a banging outside. Hopefully the cats won't scare me again like they did the other night. So there have been many searches over the years. Early on, dive teams searched the Rock Row Quarry, which is not far from where Oliveras was last seen. Last year, people who live in the area near the Saco Old Orchard Beach town line said detectives were knocking on doors asking for permission to search their property. Police said nothing was found during these search efforts. The FBI has increased the reward for information leading to Oliveras' whereabouts to $25,000, which is more than double the $10,000 reward that was offered a year ago. Authorities are hoping that will be enough to finally crack the case. Goodman said, quote, "We believe we have a working theory on where Mickey is, and we think some of these people can narrow that area down for us," end quote. Gonzalez, I believe his mom, says, quote, "Please speak up. Give my mind peace so I can bring him home and give him a proper burial." Once again, anyone with information regarding Oliveras' location is asked to call the Portland Police Department at 207-814-8584 or the FBI Boston Division at 1-800-225-5324. Tips can also be submitted online at tips.fbi.gov. And let me see if I had anything else. Hot in this house. So this is from Boston25news.com. It is from November 2024. In 2006, a young Boston man named Miguel Oliveras disappeared while visiting a former girlfriend in Portland, Maine. Hold on, it just disappeared. Oh, come on. We might read it, we might not. Oh, come on. Hold on. Let me close it out and open the new tab. See if that works. One second. Bear with me. It's trying. Okay. All right. New England's unsolved. The disappearance of Miguel Oliveras. In 2006, a young Boston man named Miguel Oliveras disappeared while visiting a former girlfriend in Portland, Maine. Miguel had no ties to Maine and no other reason to be there. Miguel's mother believes that her son was set up for homicide. Keeps disappearing. I hate it when it does that. I don't know if it's trying to throw me behind a paywall or what it's doing. Okay, let me try again. Miguel's mother says, quote, "Nothing has changed. It's just more frustration and more anger," end quote. Myrna has been looking for Miguel since the last time she talked to him, only hours before he vanished. Boston 25 news reporter Bob Ward asked, how hard is this time of year for you? And Myrna said, quote, "It's really hard, really hard. September 3rd was the 18-year holiday right around the corner. It's really hard," end quote. 18-year-old Miguel lived in Boston, but he was last seen in Portland, Maine, where he was visiting his on-again, off-again girlfriend who was dancing at a strip club called Platinum Plus. Sorry, it's not wanting to. On the night of September 3rd, 2006, Miguel was asked to leave the club. The moment was recorded on the club's surveillance camera, which is the last known image of him. Oh, come on. Portland, Maine detective Lieutenant Nick Goodman said, quote, "Once he's escorted out on closed circuit TV, you see him kind of walk into the parking lot and then never seen again ever." So what about this man? Didn't they say that they saw him outside with a man? So recently, dive teams searched a quarry near Platinum Plus. Police have scoured woods in the area with cadaver dogs. They have contacted area hospitals, but they have found nothing. Lieutenant Goodman said, quote, "This one is different. It's essentially like he vanished after he walked out of that parking lot." Once again, it's disappearing. I want to know. So it said that after he walked out to the parking lot that he vanished. It doesn't make any mention, but it said that he was seen at some point talking to to a white male. And my article just disappeared again. Oh, come on. Look at some of y'all's comments. I'll see if it's going to come up back up. Junior says, "I gave up on that channel myself. You may know the one that I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention the name of it, but Yep, Junior, you're right. Junior says he'd never take a polygraph. Never take a polygraph. Doodles and Grace says, where was his car? Did they find it? He didn't have a car, as far as I know. Come on. I don't know if it's going to come up. You guys might have to. Okay, here it comes. Let me see how far I can get before it goes away again. So 18 years later, Myrna Gonzalez believes her son is still in Maine, a victim of foul play. She says, quote, as a mother, I feel it. Someone hurt him. He's out there somewhere in Maine. Myrna believes Miguel's former girlfriend lured him to Maine. Myrna says the girlfriend didn't just invite the reluctant Miguel to Portland. She paid for his Greyhound bus ticket from Boston. After Miguel disappeared, Myrna's sister-in-law told Myrna that she talked to the girlfriend. Now a story has emerged about a BlackBerry phone in Miguel's possession that belonged to a Boston substance dealer. Myrna said, quote, they told her we need the BlackBerry phone back. She did tell my sister-in-law because they got in touch with her. The girlfriend said, well, I had to call the guy to come get the phone because another would have hurt me, end quote. Ward asks, quote, you believe Miguel was lured up to Maine, desperate to get that BlackBerry phone, and he could have been unalived over it? And Myrna says, exactly. Miguel's disappearance is still an open case in Portland, Maine. Investigators have had no luck talking to the former girlfriend or anyone who came in contact with Miguel in Maine. As far as that BlackBerry phone, Ward asked Lieutenant Goodman, quote, is that somehow connected to this? And Lieutenant Goodman said, quote, no, I can't say yes or no on that. I think everything's there. No such thing as a coincidence in police work. So we like to kind of piece it together as we go. In Boston, Myrna continues to live her life, grieving for her son and desperate for answers. Myrna said, quote, I just want to find him and bring him home. I need people to come forward, end quote. Bob Ward, the interviewer, reporter, said, tried to reach Miguel's former girlfriend, but did not get a response. And once again, call Portland police if you have any information about Miguel's disappearance at 207-874-8524 or 207-874-8575. So interesting. So I was wondering about the police or whoever had mentioned that they think, well, I don't know if it's family or police or both, think that somebody, from Boston might have had something to do with his disappearance and or death. And then we have this BlackBerry phone that allegedly may have belonged, sorry, I moved my table, may have belonged to a Boston substance dealer. So that's never a good thing, obviously. So maybe that's I'm assuming that's probably why they think that he was the victim of a homicide having to do with this alleged Boston substance dealer. Let's see. All right, I think that is the last one that we had. Let me make sure. Yes, it was. All right. Hey, we did good. We're under 3 hours. Yay. All right. So I want to thank everybody that was here in chat. Thank you so much. Thank you to the lurkers. We love our lurkers. Thank you to replay crew. Thank you so much. Please remember to leave, even if you were in chat after the live stream is ended, leave a comment, even if it's just an emoji. It does help the algorithm. I'm thinking that's the scary thing. So Friday, I probably will do a live stream. I think we're going to do something kind of fun, maybe a mysteries and conspiracies. I found this when I was bored at work. When I was bored at work today, waiting for orders to come in, I was just looking for stuff, and I found this really, what was it called? 20 UFO alien conspiracies. And I know there's been a lot with General McCaslin that's disappeared lately. The talk has started up again about the UFOs and the aliens, and then they were supposedly supposed to release some declassified files or something. So thought maybe I might have a little bit of fun Friday night. Take a little bit of a break. I know I need a little bit of a break from the heavy stuff, so I may have a just kind of a mysteries and conspiracies, chill, chat and chill, whatever. Talk about some aliens and some UFOs and whatever else happens to come up. If that's something you guys would be interested in, just let me know, and I will get it worked up and scheduled. And then, of course, I will have some pre-recorded videos to upload during the week. I should have one that I'll probably upload Wednesday. And then I'll probably, since we're going to do a live stream Friday, I'll probably upload a video Saturday, and then we'll try my best to get a new members only video done. I'm going to start, since we finished up on the He Stalks series that we were doing, the Boy Scout Secret. I think I'm going to start a new series, Arkansas's Most Notorious. And we're going to start out with a doozy of one. So it might take me a little bit to get it recorded. But hopefully it should be out within the next week or so for the members. And then, of course, Monday, yes, we do, Mustang. Mustang asked me if we were having strong winds. Yes. We've been having strong winds for like the past week, but I can hear them out there right now. They kick back up. They were bad today when I was out working. But yeah, I can hear them. Are y'all having them up your way? And I know at some point, I wasn't really paying. I got home too late to watch the local weather. Or I watched a little bit of it. I think we're supposed to have storms again at some point. I don't know. So what was I saying? So then, of course, next Monday we'll be live again with our Missing Person Monday, and I'll have to figure out which city, which state we're going to be featuring Monday. Let me get caught up on your comments one more time, and we will get out of here. It's way past Junior's bedtime. I'm so proud of Junior. He's still up. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, well, I got my hand. I don't know what hand to use. Thank you, UCC. Yes, Junior says, right there he is. I stayed up for a whole show. Thank you, Junior. I appreciate you so much, sir. Junior's been with me from the beginning. Thank you, Mustang. Yeah, once again, yeah, we do have some strong winds here right now. Thank you very much, Mustang. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, I can also do that one too. That's on my list too. That's not the one I want to do first, but yeah. The Texarkana Moonlight Red Rums Unalivings. Doodles and Grace says that sounds great. Are you talking about the UFOs or Junior says I had to give up on true crime for a little while. Yeah, it's been a while, and I think it has been a while since we did anything kind of fun and silly and goofy. So we'll have a little bit of fun Friday night. Me and the fur babies, the fur boys will be here by ourselves. Because Mom is going with the nephew out to Arizona to I think they're going to be gone for 6 days, so they won't be back. They're leaving tomorrow morning, so they'll be back Sunday, I believe, sometime Sunday. So I'll be here all week, just me and the cats all week. So we can get crazy Friday. Yeah, Mustang says she's 7 wins too. Yep. That's fine, Junior. I appreciate everything you do. Oh, yeah, Doodles and Gray says the mystery and the Arkansas stories both sound great. Excellent. All right, I think I'm caught up. So we will get out of here. Once again, thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to lurkers. Thank you to replay crew. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. I should have been multitasking, finding my outro because I always lose it. There it is. All right, I love you guys. And once again, look out for the pre-recorded videos this week. And I will hopefully, if nothing comes up, I will see you guys Friday.